Professor Suri, today we are in a factory where they make hinges. Professor Suri, can you tell me something about this factory? Why is it so special?
This factory is special because it represents the typical Dutch industry that has a lot of opportunity for competing internationally, because what they make is they make custom products and they make them in small batch sizes with very short lead times and exactly what the customer wants. And to have the capability of doing this in today's world is a really big competitive advantage.
I can understand that, but at my back I see a very interesting sign. Can you tell me something about that?
Yeah, this is a polka system which is part of our quick response manufacturing strategy.
Whoa! And quick response manufacturing? Can you tell me something about it?
Yes, quick response manufacturing is a total business strategy that I have developed over the last 10 years, and it is for manufacturing companies, but it applies throughout the entire enterprise. And it is a method for companies to make products for customers to their specifications in very, very short lead times. So to respond very quickly to changing market conditions, to changing customer demands, and to do this while actually reducing their cost and improving their quality. So it doesn't cost them more to do that. It actually they're able to implement this and at the same time reduce their cost and improve their quality.
And you invented this system?
Well, I came up with many of the ideas in it. It's also built on a lot of good ideas that have existed in industry for some time, but I put them together with some of my own ideas and built a complete system for the whole organization.
And this card fits in that system?
Yes, these cards are what help control the flow of material on the shop floor. When you're making a lot of different products with a high variety, there can be a lot of confusion about where products are flowing, and this system helps to create a very good flow on the shop floor and to manage the complexity without creating a lot of work in process.
But you came all the way from America to tell the Han students this?
Well, actually, this is only the most recent of many steps. I've been working with Dutch companies for almost 5 years now, and I was first invited to work with some companies and to do some workshops 4 years ago, and from those workshops many of the managers in Dutch companies attended my workshops and wanted to implement QRM. So we have been doing QRM, which stands for Quick Response Manufacturing. So now we have decided, with cooperation from Han and many companies, to create a center here in the Netherlands where people can learn more about QRM. And so this is my purpose of my current visit.
Why is it so important that Han students learn about this system?
Well, I think it's important for everybody in Netherlands industry to learn about it. But if you want to get ideas out in the industry, you can do it from two directions. You can do it by teaching managers and implementing it in industry, but you can also do it where you're creating the foundation of the next generation of managers. And at Han, I like very much that Han is a very applied university. The students work with industry a lot, and so it's a perfect place to plant these ideas in the minds of the students so that they understand them, and when they go out to work in industry, they can take advantage of them and make companies more competitive.
And you're giving master classes about this stuff and teach the students?
Yes, I'm teaching students in a minor program. There's a minor program on world-class manufacturing, and I'm teaching lectures in that program, but I'm also doing master classes, several of them, in the next 3 months, which are geared towards managers in industry.
Mr. Suri, is your system just about manufacturing products?
And actually, I developed QRM to be a company-wide strategy to reduce lead time throughout the whole enterprise. If you look at a company like this one, or most companies that make low variety and very high variety products in low volumes and custom products, much of their lead time is outside of manufacturing. So many times in a company with a 10-week lead time, only 2 weeks is really production, and the other eight weeks are things like estimating and quoting at the beginning, then getting the order from the customer and planning and scheduling and so on. And so if you only focus on manufacturing, you might only get 20% of the lead time impacted. So QRM really attacks the entire enterprise, the office operations, estimating, quoting, engineering, order entry, and even the supply chain, where you get your material from, your suppliers, and we even work with companies to help to improve their entire supply chain even before the material arrives in their factory. So we're really looking at the entire business with QRM.
In this time of moving production to low-cost countries and crisis, can QRM really make a difference?
QRM is a very strong strategy to help compete with low-cost countries. The reason is because if you think about a typical product made in Europe, only about 5 or 7% of the cost of that product to the customer is actually labor. So when you go to a low-cost country, you're not saving that much money. Everybody thinks you're saving a lot of money. In fact, about 40 to 50% of your cost is material, and the rest is overhead activities and selling and general and administrative costs. So what QRM does by reducing lead times is really reduce a lot of your overhead activities and your administrative costs. And that's 50% opportunity versus only 5 or 7% opportunity with labor. So companies that have implemented QRM have saved much more than they would by reducing their overhead than they would by going to, let's say, China to save labor cost.
Suppose I have a company I have a consultancy company. Can QRM then make a difference, or is it just for manufacturing?
QRM can also work in any kind of service industry because it makes you think about time it takes to do anything, any task. For example, many parts of a manufacturing company are like a service company. If you look at when a customer calls you and you have to give them a quotation, that's kind of like being in a service business. And so the whole approach of looking at time throughout your business and looking at ways of reducing time is very much what QRM is about. So it can be used in any business, but my specialization is working with manufacturing companies. That's really what I developed QRM for. If you look at the flow of a product through a company and you say, why do we need something like QRM? If it takes 10 weeks for an order to go through a company, you find that during those 10 weeks, it's maybe only 2 or 3 days, maybe about 10% of the time that people are actually working on the product, and the rest of the time the order is just sitting somewhere, and you have to find the reasons why it's sitting. And so that is, again, 90% of the time that jobs are flowing through a company, then nothing is happening to them. And in order to attack those root causes, you need people to change the way that their mindset, the way that they do a lot of the rules in the company. And there's a huge opportunity to, again, so if you just focus on reducing labor time and time people are working on a product, again, that's only 5 or 10% of your total time. And by looking at the entire business and changing the way you think about your business, you can attack the other 90%.
I think that's a big difference with other systems. Is that correct?
Yes. Most systems look at, for example, reducing labor costs, reducing the production time, reducing machine time, or reducing waste in a general sense. QRM looks at time, and time is the driver. You look at the total time, and by reducing time, you get rid of a lot of waste.
So for QRM, time is really money.
Time is a heck of a lot of money, if I can use an American phrase. It's not just money. Time is a heck of a lot of money, and if managers realize that and realize how much time is worth, they can really be very competitive by reducing lead time throughout their enterprise.
Mr. Suri, there are so many systems to improve manufacturing. Why is QRM so different?
Okay, well, we had to make a lot of improvements for QRM, which were to do with getting people to think about total time and total lead time throughout the whole system. But what I want to talk about right now, because we're standing in front of the Polka cards, is why we needed to invent a new system on the shop floor.
What means Polka?
Polka is an acronym. It stands for Pairs Overlapping Loops of Cards with Authorization. That's a big mouthful. Yes. That's why we just use the word polka.
Okay.
But polka with a K is a dance, and polka with a C is a dance of material on the shop floor. And we want to make that dance very organized. And the reason we invented this system, or I invented it in my book, was because there are two systems that are quite commonly used in manufacturing. One is called MRP. It's a computer system, but it doesn't react very well to short-term changes. And the other system that has been used a lot came from Japan. It's called Kanban. It works very well, but when you have small volumes of products with very high variety or customized products, then the Kanban system doesn't work. So we had to come up with a new system that really worked for people like Bosch hinges, that makes customized products in small batches, and that's what Polka is.
And now you're all over the world spreading the word.
That's right. It's a wonderful job.
Okay, thank you very much.